Hi, just like to give an update on my shack. Um, Due to many reasons, I've sold off some of my more expensive radios and decided to buy a couple of older radios that are working very nicely for me. IC-756 Pro 3, which I acquired for a good price, and it's in really nice condition. Works brilliantly. Great radio. I have to say it's. I think it must be my favourite radio. DX10 was lovely, but didn't like the grouping of the buttons round about the VFO, and I've got rather short fingers that are a bit chubby, and I found it very awkward at times. That was my main gripe with the DX10. This one came to me with the usual CFL issues where it's dull, and it's actually too bright for the phone. I find that the actual display on this is very good, even though it might be, in some people's opinion, a little bit limited. But I don't think it's limited. On the display we can see we have SWR, compression, ALC, we have power output and S meter, and we have all the buttons up the side which we can change, of course, and with the preamp, SWR, attenuator, AGC speed, etc. And it's as informative as you really need. It doesn't have a waterfall, but it has the band scope, which is ideal. And to be fair, if you compare it with the 7300, which I have here, which is a very faulty radio, there's been a lot of problems with this particular one. As we can see, the actual power meter, S meter, is actually quite small in comparison to the one in the 7300. The screen is smaller anyway than the 7300. And of course this radio is not the replacement for the 7300. The 7600 was the replacement for the IC-756 Pro 3. I also have an HX, an IC-910 HX, which has the 23 cents panel and so on and so forth in it, which I don't use. Radio's in good condition. It comes with the voice synthesizer and also the DSP inbuilt. I've still got an 817. I have an FTM 300 for the gateway, which is actually switched off at the moment because I'm about to go in 2 meters. But these radios are very good. We have 100% duty cycle on them, so you don't have the issues with the FT8 and digital modes, and we can use a signal link. And of course the remote connection, and it works fine, absolutely fine. Slightly more complicated because the radio doesn't have a sound card, but yeah, it does works fine on that. And the signal link and the remote lead can also be run on this, so if anybody wants to do digital digital modes on 2 meters and or 77 GS, you can go ahead with that. So there you go. But this radio here has been a nightmare. I bought it very cheaply with multiple faults on it. And you can see there's a resistor hanging in there at the moment. There's a reason for that. The CPU board was wrongly diagnosed with a fault, and unfortunately the print has been hacked about. That's 600 quid, that board, which is horrendously bad. It's far too expensive for something like that. And of course the new board that came from Icom, unfortunately the battery was completely flat. So it's I've now been able to sort it out, but I did have a complaint to Icom about that, saying a new old stock board, plus the fact it's a not so much the fact the battery's not duff, but the fact that it is an old board with the original firmware in it. So they're wanting the £600 for something that's been lying about for many years, which I didn't think was very fair. But in actual fact, the initial fault on the radio is the SWR and power monitoring op amp. That was an initial issue. And of course the manual and the diagram, etc., doesn't give a particularly great description of what things do, and even the actual diagram itself isn't very intuitive. But anyway, we've got the chip on order. We had actually the chip is there's about 5 of them altogether in here, but I did actually try to remove one and put it onto this, which it came off all right and it went on. But these little chips, these 8-legged chips op amps, don't like a lot of heat and changes. So the SWR output now is high. It's about 0.5 of a volt, whereas initially the forward reading was high of about 4 volts, which was completely wrong. So the radio wouldn't set up. So it's actually setting up a bit better now. Put the resistor in it just to damp it down a bit. This 0.5 volts, it's about 0.1 now, and it does actually function now in all bands. So that's something. But we're waiting for a chip to come. We'll fit that in that bit. But they are renowned, for the FPGA chip. This boy here, to get dry jointed, and you see there's a heat sink on there. It goes onto a pad. This pad goes onto a it's just an aluminium sheet, basically bent up round about to kind of cool it. So this gets hot, transfers the heat through the board, and then it gets cooled off, which is not the best idea. So on the new board I fitted to it, I have fitted these type of heat sinks, sticky on ones, double-sided thermal tape, quite big ones on all 3 of these. And it's definitely running much cooler. Now, I had ran it for hours since it's been on, and it's more or less stone cold. I know, of course, I did also do this as well with this stuff, and it is a butting on the heatsink. So it's cooling this side of the board, and it's also cooling this side of the board. So that should solve the problem. The issue basically is heating and cooling, constant on and off, on and off, on and off, and it causes cracks on the soldering. So, and that's where you get the problems. So these are one of the 2 or 3 things on the 7300 that are not so good. Whether or not they've resolved that problem in the Mark II, goodness knows. No idea. Only time will tell. It's a nice enough radio, but to be quite honest, it doesn't come anywhere near the 7300 Pro. So not 7300 Pro, sorry about that, 756 Pro 3. It doesn't come near it. It's a much better receive. It's a much better radio overall. So there you go. I'm still got my Yaesus. I've got a 991 in A indoors, and of course I've got that wee radio up here for the gateway. Anyway, thanks guys for watching. Sorry about the jerky video today. A wee bit sleepy today as well, so maybe 1 or 2 small errors, but put up with it. I'm getting old. Cheers everybody. Thank you for watching. Bye for now.